We're entering week 11, and it's time to do a 2020 fantasy football mock draft. Let's go. Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show. Okay, at number 1, Christian McCaffrey. How can you argue it? You can't. The guy is an absolute monster. And while I do worry about the length of his career, and I'm not talking about 1 or 2 or 3 years, I'm talking about him lasting more than 5 years. They're giving him the ball at an insane rate. The kind of workload that a running back falls off the face of the earth after 4 or 5 years. But he is gold in 2020 and 2021. We can reassess after that, but mark him down as your 1.01. There just is no debate. Now, you could argue left and right the next 3 or 4 or 5 or even top 10 after this point. Barkley is not having the year people had hoped for, but he's going to be fine. He is the best running back talent-wise in the NFL. His situation isn't as good as Christian McCaffrey's in terms of how they use him, but it's improving. Danny Dimes will get better. They have Golden Tate playing really well. Slayton looks like the real deal. And Evan Ingram, although always hurt, is a good tight end to mix into that core of players that Danny Dimes can cycle through. All which will help Barkley not face 8-man front after 8-man front. I love Barkley at 1.02 in 2020. Elliott, I could go back and forth on Elliott and Cook. Cook comes with a little bit of injury risk, of course, but Elliott has all kinds of risk on his own. Missing time isn't that unusual for Zeke Elliott. You could make an argument for either player. Actually, scratch it. I'm putting Cook 3. I'm putting Elliott 4. Change it up. Let's back that up. Dalvin Cook, how could you not put him 3? What do I look like? Look, you really could argue this either way. You could put Hopkins number 3. You could put MT number 3 or 4. The running backs haven't been delivering in 2019 like we had hoped, but I think it's all a cycle. Elliott, Barkley, they'll all get back to business probably the remainder of the year, and we might be walking into 2020 not even remembering that we had a little bit of question marks about these guys moving forward. In all honesty, you could rank Cook, Elliott, Barkley, any way you want. Those are the top 3 below McCaffrey. The only thing you can't argue is McCaffrey number 1. You just can't do it. I've got Hopkins at number 5. You could have MT there. I wouldn't argue Mike Thomas there at all, but he's my number 6. Kamara, I know we're all going to have a lot of question marks heading into 2020 if he doesn't finish on a tear. But if he does finish on a tear, he will be locked and loaded in the top 4 to 5 overall. If Kamara struggles to produce on a consistent basis moving forward, there will definitely be controversy where to rank him within that 4 to 10 range heading into 2020. Davante Adams could climb all the way to 5 if he finishes on a tear in 2019, so this is going to be dependent on how he looks from week 11 on. Nick Chubb, if he stays healthy, will return to top 5 to 10 value heading into 2020 drafts. If he gets banged up at all and Hunt comes in and takes over and does well, we will have a controversy on our hands. But for right now, lock Chubb into 1.07 to 1.10. Easy. Mike Evans for me over Godwin. I get Godwin's playing well. You could argue either one, but put Mike Evans at 1.10 for me. Scratch that. Switch them. Tyreek Hill, then Mike Evans. You see, you're watching me do a live mock draft in front of you. I'm showing you the reality of the situation. I could do this in 10 minutes and probably have a different mock draft. That's okay. If anybody tells you everything is set in stone for them, they don't waver at all when they do something like this. They're lying to you. I worry a little bit about Hill on and off the field, but the guy is an absolute monster, and he's in the best offense in the entire league with Pat Mahomes throwing him the ball. I've got Julio at 1.12 for now. I worry about Julio having 2 or 3 elite years left. I think he does have 1 more. If he finishes 2019 without getting hurt at all, then you will find him locked and loaded in the 1.11 to 2.02 range. Aaron Jones was a consideration here. If people were willing to pay the price, and they're not, Mahomes would be worth a spot here. But he's not. He doesn't need to be. You don't need to draft Mahomes any higher than you have to. In fact, if you draft him early, you're jumping the gun. You're missing the opportunity to maximize your value. So don't consider him here, even though he's warranted here. On to the second round. Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs. A case could be made for every single one of these guys from that 12 to number 15 overall slotting. Jacobs, he could be in the first round come 2020 early mock drafts. Same for David Montgomery, or if he continues to struggle, you could find him in the third round in 2020. David Montgomery's final stretch here in 2019 is going to be vital to predicting where you draft him in 2020, or where you can draft him, or where you'll even want to draft him. If Derrick Henry stays healthy and continues to produce, he will be a top 12 to 15 lock. No question about it. And an argument can be made for him to be like 11 or 12. Aaron Jones, same thing. If Aaron Jones stays healthy and continues to score TDs and be used effectively, Aaron Jones could be argued at 8 to 12 overall. But let's safely slot him into 2.01. I think that's a good spot. A lot of risk is baked into that. But man, he has such a wide range of risk and reward. His ceiling is super high, top 5 overall. And his floor is outside of the second round. Pat Mahomes, I don't care if you think this is early. I want Pat Mahomes in every league in 2020, and I'm willing to pay slightly higher than a mid-second round pick next year to lock him down. He carries you week after week. He got hurt this year. It's going to leave a little bit of a bad taste in people's mouths unless he finishes the way I do predict he'll finish. Then people probably won't care about the injury, and he'll walk into 2020 drafts locked and loaded in the top of the second round, or at least mid-second round. And you'll still have haters tell you, don't draft a QB early. I don't care. I don't care. I will take him in the second round, and I will pair him to an elite stud in the first round, and I'll be okay. Lamar Jackson deserves consideration in the second round, and Deshaun Watson, maybe. This might be the year where 2 QBs creep into the top 25 overall, and it's probably going to be Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes. And I won't call anyone crazy for investing in a QB at top 15 to 25 overall value. Whatever you're lacking by doing that, you can make up for by landing the pick where other people are taking their QB and landing a breakout sleeper at that range. Chris Godwin, you can make a case for being number 12, but I'm going to have him right below these running backs because I value the running back position a little more than the wide receiver position once we get through Mike Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, and Davante Adams. Amari Cooper needs to be in the second round. Tyler Lockett now deserves a look. Kenny Golladay, I'll put him actually above Tyler Lockett. I love Kenny Golladay. I think Galladay's only going to get better. Melvin Gordon deserves a look, I believe, at the next spot, even though we have some concerns about where he's going to be. It's taken him a while to get going in 2019. He has to finish on a high note in order to be locked into the second round in 2020. Devin Singletary, how he finishes in 2019 will determine whether we see him in the second round in 2020 early mock drafts, or don't see him until the late third, maybe even fourth round. The direction of his future will be totally dependent on how he does from here on out. People will give up on him if he doesn't deliver down the stretch in 2019, which could be a good or a bad thing. It could be good because you could get him at a value next year, and maybe he does get going next year. Everything is about draft value, everything, and trade value once the draft is over. Leonard Fournette needs to be in here, and Chris Carson and Cooper Kupp, I think you could argue at the tail end of the second round. Some would argue higher. Some might say Cooper Kupp is a top 12 overall pick. I wouldn't call you crazy. I just can't put him there yet. I think I'm being respectful enough having him listed in the tail end of this second round. Marlon Mack deserves consideration. David Johnson, Lev Bell a little bit. James Conner, although he's proven that he can't stay healthy. Joe Mixon, I don't believe in him. Waller, not yet. Odell Beckham Jr., we will see how he finishes. Now, here's the mystery, the guy I've been waiting to mention. I think the one player that's going to jump into not only the mid-second round in drafts, but be the locked-in 1.01 in rookie drafts, Etienne. This 2020 running back class is going to be lights out, and I think Etienne is going to be so insane. He's going to get people so excited. He will climb high, if not higher than where I have him right now come August drafts. Now, his landing spot will determine a lot and kind of direct the buzz and hype, but I'm saying it right now. Etienne is going to be worthy of a mid-second round pick, and he might climb higher than that when the hype train gets going. I think he's going to be a top 5 to 10 running back as a rookie. Trade for the 1.01 in your rookie draft right now. Go looking at your standings. Try and look at who is vying for that 1.1 based on your scoring system and how the 1.01 is determined in your league. Then take a look at each one of those rosters and then make a calculated decision. Look at each team and say, who is not going to win games moving forward? Who is the most likely candidate to get the 1.01? Then go trade for that pick and do it right now. Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.